Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. Here is Mr. Paul Goldschmidt, one of my favorite hitters, demonstrating in a Zep Swing Lab video promo. On the left, he's hitting the ball on the tee. And on the right is a game swing where he hit a bomb over the center field fence. Pretty good pitch to hit. You can see they're pretty close, right? And I think this is typically what people want to see when they're doing tee work, and there's nothing wrong with simulating a pitched ball or a game situation on the tee. But the reality is that, well, this isn't a reality in this particular situation. I've been a little bit deceiving. All right, and so here I'm going to play the actual video out, and you're going to see a little bit different of approach on the left and the right. Let's keep in mind Paul Goldschmidt is a professional. Right, he's a pretty good hitter, better than most of us. Right, that's pretty easy to say. And what a lot of people will make the mistake of watching this video and saying, "Oh, he's hitting down on the ball. He's not even doing what he does in a game swing." And I think a lot of times we miss the point that tee work is fundamental to the game. We're trying to work on certain feelings. Certain things for, if maybe I'm pulling off the ball, I'm going to work on staying on the ball a little bit more. I'm not worried about swing playing, right? And a great example of this is there's a video on YouTube of Ryan Braun teaching kids how he does tee work. And then if you look in the comments section, I'm sure you'll find some really funny stuff of guys that if you just knew how the swing really worked, or he's not teaching them what he really does, and what a disgrace to baseball. This is just people that really don't understand what's happening, what these guys are trying to feel and what they're trying to work on, right? And so I hope to demonstrate that today and give a little bit better of an idea of why guys like me and coaches will sometimes challenge players to hit positions like what you see there on the left. It's not because we don't want our player to get on plane. Oftentimes we're working on something very fundamental, and I think it's clear in this video that he's working on basically getting his hands moving in early and driving the knob. I know that that's not what a lot of people want to hear, right? But I think it's pretty obvious. If you look at his lower half, it's completely shut down. He's not working on his lower half. It's not a full body swing, if you will. He's working on driving his hands and the knob to the inside. He may be working on challenging himself to stay on top a little bit more. We don't know, but it's pretty obvious that he's not working on getting on plane. And I don't think his goal or his intent here is to chop down at the ball, right? He's just hitting down on the ball more than he would in a game for a couple of reasons. Maybe he's trying to feel that feeling of being on top. But the other part of this is his body's alignment is completely different. He's not concerned with staying on plane. And that's another, pet peeve of mine is, it never fails when I show a video of a 9-year-old hitting balls on a tee. Somebody will come along and say, I'm just an ebook away from understanding if you would just get your players on plane earlier, as if I'm trying to teach players to chop at the ball. And the reality is that if I have a 9-year-old hitting a ball on a tee, what am I going to simulate? In a game situation, I've got another 9-year-old pitching, and he's throwing 45, right? And so what does that swing plane look like? Well, if you look at this particular situation here, I've made some measurements, or I've charted out swing plane on the left and on the right as far as, I think, the intent. All right, if you look on the right, that's a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. And that's what the swing plane looks like as it comes in. You see to the catcher's mitt as it's coming across. That's about what the swing plane looks like. I assure you, I don't think that I have to show any further, but a 45-mile-per-hour fastball from a 9-year-old swing plane is going to look completely different. So do we really want to train our 9-year-olds to get on plane with the 45-mile-per-hour fastball, or do we want to teach them to make a short move to that ball? I'm not saying we're not trying to get the barrel in the zone. Do I want to lay the barrel down to get on plane with a 45-mile-per-hour fastball? The answer to that, to most serious folks, is a clear no. We don't want to do that, right? And if you look at the difference on the left and the right, it's all about his body's positioning that dictates his swing plane. So I think we could honestly look at this and say there's not a whole lot of difference in the swing in itself, if you look at it really in a different way. But you have to change the way you think. You can't allow your beliefs to go, oh, no, he's definitely chopping down at this ball. It's all a matter of the body's positioning. If a player is upright through the back of his knee, straight up to his head, if that alignment equals this, you better not be swinging up, because you're going to have a problem, right? If your body aligns like this on the right, you're naturally going to swing up. Your body is dictating that. It's not a matter of taking your hands and barrel and dropping them down to the catcher's mitt and then coming through, right? It's a matter of, and in this picture right here, to me on the right, tells a really clear story that his goal is to stay on top of that plane, right? Not to chop through the plane, but to stay on top of it. Will the barrel get in the zone? Absolutely. Right, but he's not trying to do that way back behind him. He's trying to work as quick as he can to the inside, right, and stay through that plane, right? And his body's positioning is going to dictate it. Now, speaking of his body's positioning, another clear difference between what you see on the left and what you see on the right, and this you'll just have to take my word for it, and I'm okay if you don't believe me, but his spinal alignment at this point, he's probably as athletic as he's going to be in the swing. He's about 30 to 35 degrees tilt towards the plate in his game swing. In his tee work, I promise you he's probably not close to that. He's probably like 10 degrees tilt, right? Because his pre-swing was completely different in this case. He literally on the left starts in that position and just fires to the ball, right? So he was working on something specific. In his game swing, if you watch Paul Goldschmidt, How to Load Like Paul Goldschmidt is also online that I did if you want to take a look at that. But he does a lot of pre-swing movement to get to this position. And the most important thing is his spinal alignment changes as he gets a lot more aggressive posture to hit the ball, right? And so if my posture is 30 degrees on the right and my posture is 10 degrees on the left, spinal tilt anyways at this point, wouldn't that dictate a lot of how my barrel is going to be positioned at this point, right? And so I also took the liberty, and look, I know some of this is a stretch. We can't make these predictions completely, but hey, what the heck? You see here that I've changed the spinal, his position with his upper half to 20 degrees tilt in Photoshop. Okay, now I know it's a bit of a stretch, but the reality is it's the same guy hitting, right? His body's position is dictating where the barrel is going to be. And in a game situation, a good hitter is going to align their body in a certain way that they're going to be able to get on plane with the ball, not lay their hands and barrel behind them to get on plane, right? This is a full body exercise, and your body's positioning is going to be a clear indicator of how you get through a ball. Now, the reason why that's so important is so many kids with a spinal alignment or a body's framework, like you see on the left here, are being taught to swing up, right? Now, I don't think these players should be taught to chop down, but why would you teach a player to lay the barrel down with their body standing straight up, right? All you're teaching the player to do is uppercut. That's not what Ted Williams was talking about, right? The slight uppercut was an indicator of how the barrel was traveling through the zone, not saying lay your hands and barrel down behind you to get on plane. This is a clear misunderstanding, and I wish we could change the conversation of where all this is going, but there's too many training devices and everything that promote, and the focus is all on lay the barrel down behind you by a bunch of guys that are wanting to make money on devices and not really understand the problem ultimately with kids is not whether or not they get on plane. It's the problem is they don't know how to work short to the ball, period. This is Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. Thanks.